like we're live here. Good afternoon, Wolves fans. Welcome to episode 8 of the Wolves Coffee Hour. We got women's basketball on today. But before we get to that, we're going to let you guys know how you can ask some questions. So you can comment live on this Facebook video as you're watching it, sprinkle those in, and we'll get to those. Or you can do it on Twitter, and that's going to be @WolvesAthletic, #WolvesCoffeeHour to ask those questions. We'll sprinkle in as many of those can, but don't get mad at us if we don't get to them all. So thanks for tuning in either over your lunch hour, and if you're supposed to be working and watching this, you made a good choice because this is probably more entertaining than whatever you were working on. So, just set the phone up beside the laptop and enjoy. So without further ado, before we get to the players and coaches here, co-host Austin Heave, man of many talents, golfer, part-time cattle rancher, administrative, connoisseur. He's he appreciates the finer things in life. So Austin, thanks.
You lie more and more every week.
I'm just trying to hype up the legend. In 20 years when they do the Austin Heave Last Dance documentary, all this just adds to the hype. So, but without further ado, we got head women's basketball coach Paula Krueger. Paula's going to be coming into her 3rd year here. How you doing, Paula?
Fantastic. I'm just now getting really excited for that Last Dance Austin Heave style. I'm not going to lie. You brought that up. I can't wait to see what that's all about.
It's going to be electric. We'll come back to it in a minute to get what you're up to. But next we got Zoe Hardwick, and with her hanging out, Kailee Oliverson. And then we got Kendall Kohler. We're just going to go around the horn here, get what you're up to, what have you been watching, what shows you've been binging, music, just kind of a brief rundown of your life here. We'll start at the top. Paula, how's it going?
It's good. I miss the kids a lot. I miss being around them for the whole semester and that kind of thing. The recruiting piece right now is really different because you spend a lot of time doing this kind of stuff with Zooms and virtual tours and those kinds of things. As far as what have I binge watched? Right now I'm watching Heart of Dixie on Netflix. And on the opposite side of that, I'm watching The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. And I zipped through the whole series of Homeland. So that's kind of what's kept my attention when I'm not watching game film and breaking that kind of stuff down.
That's good. And it's probably worth noting, Paula Krueger, the only remaining person in America to not watch a minute of The Last Dance. I don't want to hear anything about it yet because we're going to get to it in a second. Kendall, what have you been up to?
I have been just working out, hanging out. Been doing a lot of baking in my free time. Love to make cupcakes. It's great. Other than that, yeah, just working out, hanging out with the fam. Mom is here with me. What I've been watching is Hometown on HGTV. It's a great show. And then I highly recommend the movie called Greater. It's a sports drama on Hulu. It's so good. And you need to watch it. But yeah, just quarantine is quarantine.
Yeah, and for the fans who maybe don't know where you're from, let them know where you're at. Are you in Aberdeen? Are you at home with your parents, or what do you got going on there?
Yeah, so I'm from Alexandria, Minnesota, and I am currently in Alexandria, Minnesota. Currently don't have any place to work right now just because of everything going on. So I've just kind of been bopping here through Aberdeen, and my dad lives in Detroit Lake, so I've been going there too. So just kind of a nomad these days.
It's good. You gotta find entertainment where you can these days. And we'll get to these last two. If anyone's watching, no one call the cops. They're not social distancing, but we're okay with it. We'll let it slide this one time. In any order you guys want, Zoe or Kailee, what are you guys up to? And give us a rundown on what you got going on.
Yeah, so I've just been chilling at the house. We moved into this house in Aberdeen probably 2 weeks ago. I don't work or anything, so I've just been working out, watching some nature documentaries on Netflix. So, yeah.
Good, Zoe. What have you been up to?
I work at Menards. Just got there 3 weeks ago, so I've been in plumbing, learning a lot about that. Just working out with Kailee and our other roommate, Stop, and I guess the only shows we really watch is like Parks and Rec and The Office, to be honest. Highly recommend. They're both funny.
Love that. And Menards is the single busiest store in town right now. It seems like people don't realize, or they didn't realize how much they hate their house until they're in it all the time. They're like, Jesus, this flooring sucks.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of projects, and I'm guilty of that, as I'm sure Austin is as well. Everyone is.
I've seen Zoe a couple of times here. My wife has sent me to Menards more in the last 4 weeks, and I've seen Zoe a couple of times, and Shariah. I mean, I see everybody.
Yeah, you see someone working, you're like, sorry, I'm here. I feel whatever.
Again, I'm here again.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so good. Got a rundown of what everyone's got going on. And Austin, this has become kind of a tradition on the show here. I don't know what we're going to do now that the last dance is over. We're going to have to maybe keep getting different takes. But Austin, start up the next segment here.
Yeah, so now that the whole thing is actually over with, we'll kind of go around. This is more applicable now than in most weeks because you guys all play basketball. We'll start by, do you think you guys, we'll start with Zoe and Kailee. Could you guys have played with a player that was as much of a tyrant as Michael Jordan? Would you have been able to be teammates with him, do you think?
I mean, I think, teammate is a teammate. You kind of got to treat him however. You can't really treat him differently.
Now, I should start by, have you guys all watched The Last Dance, or you guys been watching the documentary or not?
I haven't seen it.
Okay,
we're like half and half here. Wow.
We're 50-50 split. We got a 50-50 split. So I mean, it was very, very hard on his teammates. Expected a lot out of them. So is winning the only thing that matters? As long as you're winning, are you good with it? Is basically the question.
Not for me. Like, winning's nice, but I want to enjoy my time playing. Like, it's more about the connections that I make with people. Like, winning's just a perk.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay. Kendall, how about you? You said you have been watching it?
Yeah, I have been.
What do you think? Could you have played with Michael?
I guess I feel like my personality could relate to, what was his name? Burrow. The one guy he always bullied. Burrell.
Burrell.
Not Burrell. It was, he just kind of just giggled it off all the time, and he took it, but he never took it like seriously, because I feel like he always knew, like, out of the goodness of his heart, that Michael wanted the best for everyone, and like he was going to lead by example. But I feel like if anything, if I were to play with someone like that, like, that's how I would react. Just try to keep in mind that, I guess he wanted the best for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, the only answer, I feel like, yeah.
The only reason why it's remotely acceptable is because he was successful. Like, if I tried to act like that, like if Austin left me out of a fundraising meeting, and then 4 months later, I'm like, yeah, remember that 4 months ago when you did that to me? Yeah, that's okay. I'll get back at you. Like, if I did that, I would be ostracized. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't work anywhere else outside of where he did it. And if he was half as successful as he was, I think that's probably remembered a lot differently. But
Paula,
let's go to Paula here. Yes.
Could you have played with MJ?
Could I have played with MJ? Now, keep in mind, I haven't watched 1 second of The Last Dance.
No, but enough. But
I taped it. I'm going to binge watch it because I want to be able to watch it like a movie, so that everything was just fresh and carried from one to the other. So it's not that I'm, not going to see it. It just isn't that I haven't watched it. My take would be that I think that I can be teammates with just about anybody. Could I be friends or have a relationship off the basketball court with someone like that? I highly doubt that. I don't think he would be a person I would seek out to be my friend. But I seek out someone like that to be my teammate and make me better on the basketball floor, absolutely. But I'm not sure off the basketball court that he would have been someone that I would have chose to hang out with. You have those people that you would never be friends with anyway, kind of. That's kind of what I feel like. But I've had to be a buffer for a lot of my career and a lot of times as a player. And so I think I would have been able to handle that. I've got really thick skin and big shoulders. And so whatever he brought, I would have been okay with. I would have been more concerned about the teammates that maybe couldn't handle it. But he certainly wouldn't have been someone I would have wanted to hang out with. He would have been someone that I tried to beat in practice. I can tell you that. Like, I would have tried to be better than him just because of his intention of making you better. So I think that part of playing with him probably would have been outstanding. But Michael Jordan, the person, would have been tough for me to swallow.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, part of what plays into kind of his lore is that his rise was during a time where you don't know as much about him. He's not on Instagram Live all the time. He's not tweeting out whatever he's doing. Like, we know LeBron's like doing Taco Tuesday and he's like doing all this other stuff, and we know him and he's more humanized. And like MJ, you don't know as much about him. So I think your imagination is kind of left to run wild, and he becomes more of like kind of a mythical like legend because you're starved for, you don't know anything about him, so your imagination is kind of free to run wild. We can go back to Zoe and Kailee here. During the last episode, we found out that it wasn't actually a flu game; it was just bad pizza. Does that change your thoughts on that game, or is it less impressive? Is it more impressive? What are your thoughts on that? That was a huge dagger to me because I make reference to the flu game when I'm not feeling good a lot, and so that kind of ruined it for me. But
like, it was just food poisoning, or what was it exactly?
Yeah.
I mean,
food poisoning. Yeah, he got served bad pizza.
So he's eating pizza before a game.
Yeah.
At night, prior to the game.
Night before.
What time was the game at?
Yeah, that's a good point they just made. That's a good point they just brought up. Like, what is he really doing eating pizza the night before an NBA Finals game? Well, first of all, why has no one asked that?
Yeah. But then it's also nutrition wasn't the way it was back then, I feel like, too. Like, it wasn't very talked about. I don't know.
Could be.
I
think it's the hangover game.
Yeah.
Could be.
That honestly could be.
Yeah.
That could be more to it.
You think the whole thing is a ruse?
That's a hot take.
That is a hot take right there, Austin.
The hangover game.
Huh.
I don't know.
There are people,
that kind of seems like
people. There are people who claim to have seen him playing cards till 3:30 in the morning at a bar.
I have a friend
Now,
who
they might be making it up.
I have a friend who actually bartended at a bar that the Bulls frequented quite often, and she will readily admit that Michael was not the first person to leave the bar quite often. She will tell you that he was one of the later goers at that point. Now, I don't know if it was finals or anything like that. She'll just tell you that he wasn't the first guy to leave. But that's all she's ever said. So I can't comment on anything else.
That just makes me respect him even more.
Call her in Chicago right now, and she could probably answer it, but she probably has some agreement that she had to sign because that's where they came and hung out. So it's probably all she can say.
He's not going to lose anything, even if it's who's going to go to bed first. He's just, that just makes me respect him all that more. He just cannot lose anywhere.
Exactly.
Well, I think that kind of brings our last dance takes. We're going to have to come up with a new segment next week to kind of fill that gap. But next up, for those of you guys watching, you might want to, take a seat. We don't know how hot these takes are going to be yet, in case, you're falling over yourself with how outrageous they are. We're going to start with Zoe and Kailee. Give us your hot takes, and we'll kind of see where this goes.
Yeah, I got it. All right. So, would you rather wear clown shoes every day or a clown wig every day?
Ooh. You mean clown shoes for me because my feet are big.
You already be wearing clown shoes.
I was thinking it, KO. I'm glad you said it because I was thinking it. I was thinking it. Oh.
That's awesome. I have to go clown hair. I basically
hair.
already have clown hair. I mean, for the longest time, my hair doesn't grow down. My hair grows up. So I kind of, for a while, I had the clown hair. I know what that's like. I'm a little used to that. I think I'd probably go clown hair. I'd just trip all day if I was in clown shoes.
Clown shoes, though, like that's not like the focal point when you're having a conversation. Like if you got clown hair hanging in your eyes, like there's 0% chance anyone takes you seriously. I don't know.
It depends. What color's the hair?
Clown hair is clown hair.
Rainbow. It's gotta be rainbow hair, right? Like all clowns.
Yeah.
Clown shoes.
I think I would go clown hair.
the clown hair is not as much of an inconvenience. Like, obviously it's annoying, but you can still walk around and like your functions are the same. Like, you're going to struggle to walk around in the clown shoes.
No, you don't. I make it every day at work, so I think.
You know, the thing about clown hair is nobody said you couldn't like braid it or put it into ponies or, you know, that kind of thing. You just put it on. So, I mean, you could do your hair. And I mean, with this mop, there's not much I can do. So I'd probably have fun with a little bit of clown hair because there'd be a little bit of different things I could do with that stuff.
I feel like after like a year, they would just adjust to it. People would stop even, you know what I mean? It kind of becomes your thing. But like, at least at that point, I'm switching over. I'm switching from clown shoes to clown hair because people would start to accept it. And then it's like not an inconvenience to like walk around your house or go outside. People are forgetting though too. In the winter, you can't wear boots. You just have to wear clown shoes in deep snow. And you're shoveling your car out of a ditch in like 10-degree weather wearing clown shoes. Terrible. You can put a hat over clown hair. That's my final take on that.
However, could they be also snowshoes?
Yeah. There's many types of clown shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's a great question, Kendall.
I'm so mad. I'm going to lose sleep.
Clown boots.
Clown
this
sandals.
Clown sandals. That would be unique.
Yeah.
Could be, depending on, you know, whether the climate where the clown lives could play a role. Never did I think we were going to get that much content out of clowns, but I love it. If anyone has any revelations on that, feel free to sprinkle that in. We're going to go on to the next one here. Zoe, have you got one for us? If it's clown related, I don't know if I can handle it. So
it is not clown related. I got, would you rather always say everything in your mind or never speak again?
I'd say everything on my mind. I pretty much do it anyways if people get to know me. So.
It's true. It's true. It's very true.
Truth.
I think I would have to go never speak again. I have to. Like, at least at that point, you're keeping your friends and your job and your social life. You're just like roasting people all the time. There's no way I would survive. No way.
You're going to have a social life without saying a word. You're not going to, these people you've been talking to your whole life, you're no longer going to speak to, and your social life's still going to thrive.
You can sign.
I'd be like, hey, vow of silence. I could still tweet. I could, you know, I'm on social media putting stuff out there. Like, I think I could manage. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Kendall, I like your thoughts. You could sign, right? That's what you said?
Oh yeah, you could sign.
You could learn sign language.
Yeah.
Or Google Translate.
True, but then,
use it all the time.
But then,
True.
But then do you sign everything that you think? Because signing is a form of speaking. So then do you, in fact, sign everything that's on your mind?
Oh,
what do you think about that?
Threw a big wrench in there.
I'm
terrified. I'm terrified. Like, I think I want to lean towards saying everything, but I'm terrified that I would have to.
Me too.
It's kind of a disaster waiting to happen. But
do you think though that
the
if you knew?
Do
you think that if you knew you had to say everything that you were thinking, that maybe at some points it would change the way that you think?
Yes, this is good. I like where we're headed.
I mean, if you knew that you were going to say everything
positive.
You know, but I mean, if you knew that you were going to say, you had to say everything that you think for the rest of your life, don't you think that you would maybe, the girls will know what I'm talking about, like the Justin Sewell, like you would lean into the things that you don't like a little bit more and try to understand them before you just blurt it out? You know, because I'm the most sarcastic person I know, and it can come across as really like being a butthead. And my kids will
don't
agree.
We know
I've
it.
said some things where I thought I was funny that aren't funny at all. But I think knowing that that's how I am, it makes you think. So if somebody told me that I had to say everything I thought, I think that I would think a lot harder before I just spit stuff out.
Because we're basically talking about that Jim Carrey movie, right? Yeah. I think that if you said everything that was on your mind and you even said things that you were subconsciously thinking of that you weren't necessarily aware, I think it'd be cool because you might get some really good introspection into yourself and the reasoning on why you do certain things. So that might be a good reason. You might learn more about yourself than you could if you choose quiet forever. Does that make sense?
That's deep.
That's a really, that's a deep thoughts.
This is far and away the most philosophical hot takes segment we've had since we've started this show.
It's getting existential. It's getting existential.
Easily the most philosophical.
Well, I have spent a
Yeah, I
quarantine
like it.
reading books about being more positive and leaning into the negative and that kind of thing. So that's probably where it came from, because I'm on like book number 5 of similar kinds of stuff. So
Paul is at home reading Plato and Socrates, getting deep. Can we just get a final let's get a final. I have no idea where we ended up on this one, so let's get a final tally. I'm going on the side of quiet forever, just because I would have no job by the end of the week, and I'd rather be quiet in my apartment than saying everything I want on the street. But Kailee, Zoe, where do you end up on this one?
I would speak my mind. I do it anyway, so why change now?
That's a power move. I respect that.
I'm gonna be quiet. I think I did.
what you got, Kendall?
I'm just gonna speak the truth. Just let it be. Let it fly.
I too am just gonna let it roll.
Dreadful for me, but whatever. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I think you let her go and see the chips. Let the chips fall where they may. I'm on that team. Just speak your mind.
I am flabbergasted that I'm in the minority on this, but I think it's because the players. I think like once you guys get full-time jobs, then I think let's check back in. Let's do a coffee hour in like 3 years, and then let's see where this goes. Put it on the calendar.
Austin and I both have full-time jobs, and we fall on the side of speak your mind.
Yeah, Adam.
But like, I would be so nervous to be saying something to like, oh, it's like a fan at a game, and I'm like, just say something totally off the cuff, and then.
No one has any fear of saying things to coaches. People speak their mind to a coach all the time. So.
Yeah,
I think
maybe I'm not as good of a person as I think I am, but I am glad that we will never have to figure this out for real. With that, any thoughts on circling back on the clown discussion? We're still good on that one.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, just making sure. Kendall, what do you got for us?
All right, this is a power statement, and I'll stick to it till the day I die. Burger King is so much better than McDonald's.
Woo!
That's true. That's facts, Kendall. I stand. Yes.
Woo!
You know.
Okay, let's hear why. Kendall, Kailee, tell us. Lay the picture out for us.
Mayo?
The breakfast is amazing at Burger King.
Breakfast, BK breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5-star.
Easily.
Okay, Kendall, when you go to BK for breakfast, what do you get? Like, what do you get for breakfast that's so like life-changing?
I get 2 croissants with egg and cheese with hash browns and a Minute Maid orange juice. Good night.
Boom. She just dropped the mic on it right there. And Kaylee's like, uh-huh.
Yeah, I take like, if I was in high school, I'd take my prom date there. BK breakfast all the way.
Is that a true story, or are you just saying that you would do that?
I would do that. I never did, but I shoulda.
Oh, man.
That is taking a stance and backing it up. I like it. And I guess chicken fries, is that an argument for BK, right?
Hmm.
And they've got a place to hold your ketchup. Like, I don't know if you ever like have been there like that much, but like you open up the carton and it holds your ketchup.
It's got the little holder.
Oh, wow.
Game changer.
You all eat at
Yeah.
Burger King often, apparently. Wow.
Paul's like, hey guys, what are we doing here?
Why are we taking you guys to eat at good restaurants on the road? BK it is. Y'all just changed my mind. Shoot, you're having BK for every meal. Bust it out. We are
I will
Burger
actually have
King.
Burger King over anything.
My dream senior.
Well, I think
I love it, Kendall. Even the French fries, guys?
That's one exception.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I can go with everything else, but if you would have told me BK fries are better, then I would have been like, oh, guys. But now I'm with you. I get it. I can. Have you guys ever had a Wendy's breakfast sandwich though?
No.
Mm-mm.
They have breakfast?
Yeah, I didn't know they had breakfast.
I didn't either, but my husband brought them home here the other day. And I used to like Burger King Chris sandwiches, and it's not that I don't, I just don't eat fast food very often anymore. But my husband brought home the Wendy's breakfast sandwich. You guys are gonna have to try it because it's got eggs, sausage, ham, bacon, cheese. It's good. You have to just
Now,
try
is
it
the-
one time. I'm
is
not
the-
saying it's better than Burger King, but you gotta try it one time.
Is
I'm
the sausage
salivating.
on the Wendy's breakfast sandwich, is it square like the burger?
No.
I think they're out just from inconsistency. Like I just can't respect.
No bueno, huh? No
I
good.
just-
If it's not
I just-
square,
I
we're
just-
off of that.
I just can't respect a business that doesn't stick to its values and stick to its guns. So Wendy's is out for me personally, and I think I speak for all of us when I say that. So Wendy's, yeah, we'll see you later, buddy. Yeah, that's it. Any other takes on that? I'm not an expert on this, but I agree with you guys. I'm here for it.
I just am impressed with it right away. I mean, Kailee and Kendall were like, right now, BK is better. I did not know that. So this has been a very informative. I wrote down Greater on Hulu, and now I just wrote down BK Breakfast. So guys, I'm rolling in knowledge right now. It's fantastic.
Like, it was so aggressive. Like they're like if they see someone on the street that's like McDonald's is better, like it's hands on sight kind of take. Like it's aggressive. It's aggressive.
On. Yeah. It's on.
I'm a fan of the strong opinion, so no complaints here. Okay, Paula, last but not least, what do you got for us?
Oh, I don't know. Just don't know which one I should use.
We can maybe go 2 here, since this is good. I'm a big fan of this. I think this not a lie, best hot take section yet. It's been said. That's not even a hot take, so it doesn't really fit into this segment. But we'll maybe go 2 from you, and we'll kind of see where it goes.
Okay, well, here's my first one. Would you rather have to always watch your favorite show live and sit through all the commercials, or DVR it but never know the ending because it stopped recording too soon?
The first one.
Yeah,
Commercials
watch
all
the
way.
commercials.
Yeah, I'll watch as many commercials as needed.
Man, I hate commercials.
But you can do so that you can go get a snack.
Yeah.
You can go do other tasks. You can be like multitasking, get things done.
No, you guys are
Paula,
right. I just hate commercials. You guys totally picked the right answer. I agree with you, but man, that's a bummer.
This is sports too.
Oh yeah. This is anything that you DVR, man.
God, that's so painful because you got to go with the commercials just to see the last minute of the game. Like, I'm just thinking about The Last Dance. You would have missed every game winner. You'd miss every last buzzer beater.
Shoot, I missed every
Or
episode of it, and I'm still okay.
Or you'd miss
Yeah,
all the stuff that they didn't include, like Stockton. You'd miss all the stuff they didn't include, like Jordan missing free throws late, or Jordan getting the ball stolen late, or all the stuff they didn't put in the documentary. You'd miss all that too.
Well, this question came up because I DVR'd a game and it was a back and forth game, and my DVR quit with 13 seconds left in a 1-point game, and the team that was down with the ball, and I had to freaking look it up on SportsCenter. And I absolutely despise commercials when I'm watching sporting events. I just want to, I don't even really like timeouts. I just want to see the game or whatever. But after that, I was like, I either have to add extra time on everything that I DVR, or I've got to be able to watch them live, because I was very distraught at that point.
I'm tempted to go with the DVR route, because think how much time you could save. I mean, we're talking about thousands of hours, of hours. Like just by that alone, I'm pretty close to just saying DVR.
Well, if I was watching a TV show, it'd be different, because then, when you watch the next show, they always recap what happened the time before. So technically I wouldn't be missing an ending until I got to the season or series finale. And then I would be missing the ending, which would really stink. But all the other ones you can catch up when they just do the previews from the previous week.
Ashley
and if it's a show like
thing. She texted me and goes, you could just watch the recap from the week before to watch Shannon's. Like, that's a heady play. That is a really veteran move.
Yes.
Hey, and if you watch a show like Game of and Game of Thrones. The whole last season sucks. You wouldn't miss out on anything, you know. So some shows, great, fire, absolutely, 100%. I would have preferred to miss Game of Thrones because I'm still mad about it. It's
Game
been
of
like
Thrones last season. I thought it was pretty good.
Oh my gosh, how can I mute you? I just can't handle it. It's been 2 years and I'm not over it. I can
tell it's a hot button for you. Kendall, what would you do?
Ashley muted me for a bit there. This is like Around the Horn or whatever that show's called. But yeah, I got to be careful. Otherwise, Ashley's gonna mute me again. We can't do any Game of Thrones hot takes. I'll lose my whole day. So,
Kendall, what's your pick?
What?
I asked Kendall what she
do.
do.
Yeah.
I think that it would be unfortunate because I never get to see the rose ceremony on The Bachelor.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
that's 2 thumbs down. You're right. That'd be bad.
I would take as many commercials as it took because sometimes
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just never.
I agree.
I can see where you're coming from, Kendall. For sure.
And maybe like Super Bowl, you want to watch the commercials. Maybe, I don't know.
Truth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's one event a year. So, I'm kind of any other takes on that? We got everyone's opinion. Austin, where did you end up on that one?
I'm with them. I'll bite the bullet and watch the commercials.
Yep, I'm here
needs
for
to
it.
Be done.
My FOMO, fear of missing out on any game winners is way too high to even think about missing it. So, well, Paula, let's go to your other question because I'm just fired up now and I'm not calmed down enough yet to go on to the next section. So let's see what happens. I think you've got another one.
My second question would be, would you rather be an unknown superhero or a famous villain?
Famous villain.
Oh, Zoe, I didn't see that coming.
Famous.
Famous villain.
So are you talking like, is Batman an unknown superhero?
I'm talking
no, like you know his name. No, like you know who Batman is, so he's ruled out.
Yeah, you're like completely unknown. So like you are maybe you're a vigilante, but they don't know anything about you. You know what I mean?
You have like superpowers, or are you just like a superhero? Like, do you got something?
Up to you, I guess. That's up to you. If you want to be a superhero with superpowers, you're still unknown. Not like they don't know your identity. Like you are 100% unknown. So when you fix something or do something,
good stuff happens, and they just attribute it to good luck.
Exactly.
Oh,
you're like unknown. So like when something happens, it's luck. You don't get credit for it. You're unknown.
Dang, I think I'd be an unknown superhero.
I could see that, Kendall, for sure. Kale is
So
thinking
is the
hard about
success-
this right now because she wants to know if she got superpowers. You're like, dude, can I put on a cape?
Yeah, like if I had superpowers, I'd be unknown. Like I'd be doing stuff around my house. Like if I could move stuff with my mind, I'd be unknown. I wouldn't want to be a villain and have people coming for me all the time.
I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
like I like my face. I like my face.
Zoe changed her answer. I changed my answer.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Oh, well.
I
What do
think
you got, Adam?
I think you have to go with the unknown superhero because a lot of times in athletics you hear it's about the process, it's about doing all these good things, not necessarily receiving accolades for it. And it's like, hey, you're a good teammate just because you want to be a good teammate, and that's what you find internally rewarding. So I think that this is ideal because, like in The Last Dance, one of the things that MJ said is you want to be MJ on the court because he's good and because he's a famous basketball player. You don't want to be him off the court because the fame ruins your life. You can't go out. You can't do anything. I think the unknown superhero is the best of both worlds. You get the internal satisfaction of just being a great person. And then also on the back end, you can still live a normal life in your spare time. You can have you can kind of have the best of both worlds.
And you can move stuff around your house with your mind.
Yes.
Like
Exactly.
the over the top recognition, not for me. Not for me. That's my take. But is Michael Jordan the successful villain? Because now everyone's saying, well, he's kind of a jerk, but he was super successful. So is he the embodiment of that metaphor? Maybe.
I think that's probably a lot of people, depending on who you ask when they're in his situation. Obviously, I don't know that he was an unknown superhero. He was a pretty known superhero on the court, but off the court too. I think he would probably have some of that villain persona for people he played against, even people that he that he played with, but he would also be the first person to tell you, and I would agree with him, you don't have to like me. You know, that's okay. But if I'm going to be your teammate, this is how we're going to do things. Or if I'm going to be your coach, or, you know, whatever it may be. I think we could be an unknown superhero, probably for him sometimes in the locker room, and things that we didn't get to see, we maybe get to see more of now. But he might have been a superhero in there where things were unknown. Maybe he does have a softer side where he said some things that weren't quite as in your face and as harsh, and maybe coming across as condescending and some of those kinds of things. But yet, you know, kind of what they personified a lot was the villain side, where he said, there are a lot of people that aren't going to like me when this is over. And there was a lot of people that didn't like me when we played. And I think almost everybody has to deal with that in some way, shape, or form. So, I mean, when you're the person picking up pieces in the locker room or on the court or on your field or in the office, wherever that may be, a lot of times that goes unknown, you know. But when you're the butthead in the office that was ticked off that day, or, you know, you said something that was the heat of the moment, you wish you could take it back, then you're the villain, and you remember it as the villain for like forever. And the good things, you know, that are unknown. So I think part of being that famous villain is you're remembered forever. And when you're the unknown hero, a lot of those things, it's almost like being unsung. You don't hear that stuff. So, I mean, it takes a big person, I think a bigger person probably, to be the unknown hero portion than it does to be the famous villain, in my opinion. Although as a coach, sometimes you have to be the villain whether you like it or not, or you're seen as the villain whether you like it or not.
Yeah, true. I don't want to get too deep here, but if you are a villain, in your own eyes, you're the hero because you're doing what you think is right.
Think
so
is
like
necessary,
you're a villain to other people, but in your own world, from your own perspective, you're your own hero a lot of times, maybe.
Agreed.
So like MJ being mean to his fellow teammates, from the outside, yeah, he's a villain, but from the inside, he's doing what he needs to do for everyone to be the best. So he's the hero in his own eyes. So, you know, it's like that's getting a little bit existential. I'm talking too much, so we've got some comments here from Facebook. And Ben Root said that he would watch 30 minutes of commercials to avoid any of the Bachelor show. Response to that, Kendall?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Wow, that's harsh.
He's missing out.
Get him, Kendall.
That's kind of, maybe that's Ben's way of, that's his hot take maybe. So response to that.
Ben. Just unfortunate. Girls, this might cause some tension on the road trips now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable.
I know. We should just like get a tape of it now and make him watch every single season.
Every episode.
Like, every single season.
We're gonna request to watch that on bus trips.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Can you find can we get DVDs of The Bachelor to put in the DVD player that's up in the front, and we'll just run The Bachelor.
We'll make
just
it
from
happen.
season
And
one.
then,
Start at season one and just watch throughout the year.
Just
Watch
let it roll.
season.
There's gotta be a disc set of it. I mean, they've made that of every other show.
Absolutely.
I gotta be able to find. Oh, I'm on it, ladies. We're finding it. That's happening. Ben Root's gonna have to watch The Bachelor on the bus. It's happening. Good idea, Kendall.
And guess what? If it's with DVDs, there won't be any commercials. So
Nope,
it'll just
there'd be zero
content.
commercials.
Woo!
I'm going to hide his headset so he can't listen to any of his crazy music or watch any of the cartoons that he watches or whatever he's watching on his phone. He's watching The Bachelor. I'm writing Bachelor on the bus right now.
I would listen to.
You gotta make sure someone's next to him too, so he stays awake.
Greater,
So he can't sleep.
BK Breakfast, and Bachelor on the Bus.
Not even lying. That's what it says. If you guys can see that. Boom.
I would watch Ben do play-by-play of The Bachelor. I think that would be good TV. You know, like the I don't watch it. I don't know, but like the road's going up the left side. Oh, he passes it over to the right. You know, he could do something like that. I think that would be compelling TV. I think it would.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And someone is complaining about, Ethan Cranhold said Austin's giving out spoilers. I think maybe he's talking about the Bulls. Yeah, if you're watching this and you don't know, spoiler alert, the Bulls won a few titles. I don't know what to say about that. You're only 25 years late. But that's okay. Whatever, I guess. Okay, I got to ask, any other last-minute revelations on clown shoes versus clown hair? Before we move on, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I mean, Dennis Rodman had clown hair his whole life. Like, he got away with it, so I'd do the same. Just saying.
Dennis Rodman just straight up a stud.
Mm-hmm.
He became more
I
famous
don't
than
think,
Michael Jordan at one point. The time that
I
if you
don't
guys
think any
if you need
players,
something to watch, watch his documentary on ESPN Plus. It really gives you a different look at Dennis Rodman. It is very good. And if you have a chance, reading his book along with that is worth it.
Before we go on to the next segment, I do want to make a note. I do think it's interesting that people kind of praise Rodman for just being a savage and ditching out on his teammates during the finals to go hang out with Hulk Hogan. But then when like Michael Jordan is like maybe getting on his teammates a little too much, he's like kind of ostracized for that. But then people are like, oh, go party it up. Go party it up, Rodman. Like, how does Rodman not catch more heat for doing WWE in the middle of a playoff series than Michael does for maybe trying to motivate his teammates in a different way than they wanted to? So it's interesting.
That was so weird. It was like, imagine like if that happened like today, like in the NBA, would he even be able to come back? Like the guy literally just left at multiple points in like different seasons to just go to Vegas or hang out with Hulk Hogan. And then like Phil would just be like this, oh, Dennis, you're back. All right, get on the bike. We'll see you next practice. Like, it's just so, it was just kind of crazy. But I mean, like, he showed up in games, so.
If you watch that documentary, it talks about where he kind of fell off his rocker. You know, where if you get to see the background kind of where he came from and what he grew up with, and then when the Pistons all disbanded and people got traded, Dennis wasn't ready for that. He thought they were going to be together forever. That was his new family. That was the people that and so then when he got traded, and he got traded a couple of times, if you saw him in San Antonio, it was a train wreck. And then when it came time to go to to Chicago, they got together, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, and neither one of them, Scottie Pippen didn't want him at all because they'd had all those issues. And Michael was the one that said, we got to meet with him. We got to talk to him. We got to ever, because Phil's like, he's the missing piece, but we're going to have to make some, I don't know, going to have to make some exceptions a little bit. I don't think they meant exceptions to go to Vegas or to go wrestle with. I don't think that was exactly the road that they were thinking of. But to come from where he came from and do what he did, and then to just kind of march to his own drummer and whatever, he really is a tortured soul. Though when you watch that, he's in a different area of headspace than most of the rest of us walking, and that's not an excuse. That's just a reality. I don't even know if he sees what he did as wrong. He just sees it as being him, you know what I mean? And take me or leave me. You don't like me, fine. You don't want me to play, I won't play. And he would be hard to play with too because of that reason. So, I mean, I get it for sure. And extremely difficult to coach. I give Phil Jackson a lot of credit when he was in Chicago. He was much better in Detroit. It was a little bit, but he had Daly that could keep him grounded. You know, Daly was like a dad to him. When that broke up, that was a bad deal.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I think Kendall made a good point. You know, as long as if you show up and you perform the way that you should, then the fans and the public in general and your teammates are probably going to be a little bit more forgiving. But with that, we're going to kind of switch gears here a little bit. We're going to go into some individual questions for each of you guys. And it's a little bit more serious. So we'll try to switch gears here. The first question is going to come from Austin. So Austin, what do you got for us?
It's not too serious, not.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
Crazy serious here. First question.
But as in, we're not arguing about clowns.
That's true. So, Kailee, for everyone listening, just kind of over the last couple of years, you've had to deal with some injuries and things like that. Just kind of give the fans a rundown and what's kind of kept you motivated through the rehab and all this stuff to get back on the court, and what the last year and a half's kind of been like for you.
Yeah, so once I transferred here, it was definitely difficult sitting out my first semester in the spring, but I didn't want to waste a year because basketball is the first love. You want to spend as much time as you can on the court. And then coming into last fall, getting into those first games, it was kind of rough, the transition, because my last game I played was in high school. So the first game was rough, and then you get back into the groove of it and you fall in love with the sport again. And then after my surgery, or I think it was my second surgery, Like, it was hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, I went through some tough times, like mentally and emotionally, just because you want to be able to be there for your teammates. But then it's like you see them thriving on the court, and it's like you can be there for them on the bench. So that's kind of what kept me going through the whole season. It's like my teammates are putting in the work on the court. I can help them off the court and try and be that motivator for them.
No,
yeah, that's
awesome.
That's an awesome mindset.
And kind of give people a little background on where you transferred from, and then kind of that as well.
Okay, yeah. So I committed to Nevada originally out of high school. And I was at Reno for a couple of months, got a couple concussions, and I went home. And then I transferred out here probably like November, December of my freshman year. So yeah, I didn't play any games at Nevada. And then I obviously took my transfer red shirt so I could have a full year of eligibility.
That's awesome to hear. I love that mindset of, hey, you know, regardless of how I'm going to help the team, I'm going to do it to my best ability. That's really awesome to hear. I appreciate that mindset. So with that, we're going to go, next question goes to Kendall. You know, looking through your kind of stats and stuff here, you know, your freshman year was like played like 2.6 minutes a game. And then the next year you played in 20 games. And then the next year you play in 22 games, and looking at it, it was like over 50% from the field. So, I mean, that's a, you know, especially, you know, for early on, you know, when you, as an underclassman, you progressed pretty quickly. Could you speak a little bit about, you know, how you kind of went going from high school to college, and then still, you know, continuing to improve throughout your kind of early middle career at Northern?
Yeah. So when people say like coming from high school to college, like it's a huge difference, like no one's lying, you know, it is a huge difference. And I think the biggest like difference was, you know, yeah, you were good in high school, but when you come to college, everyone is good and better. So, I mean, every day since freshman year, like that was always my goal to come in and to, you know, look up to who is in front of me and to literally just see what they're doing and to want to do the same thing and to do it better and better. And, you know, to work when no one's watching, to work hard, even especially when people are watching, you know, and that's always been my goal, like throughout my entire life, in everything I do. So, especially this past year, you know, whenever I got a chance to contribute, I wanted to contribute, and I wanted to be the best fit in my role, give the best that I could in any situation. And I guess that's like always my mindset to do whatever I have to do to help us get better. And, you know, it's the way I was raised, and that's the way I always will be. So
Paula's nodding her head at all these answers. She's like, yes.
Well, they're telling the truth. And that's probably what's the most admirable quality, is that they're completely honest kids, and they approach things with their face forward. They don't shy away from difficult conversations. They understand that, you know, that it's hard as a coach when you've got 18 people and you only play 5 people at a time, and trying to find those people. And if there was one thing I could say about all of the girls, but specifically, you know, the kids that are on here, is that they understand putting in the time and knowing that it's not always going to be necessarily in their favor. And when you talked about being the villain and that kind of thing, oftentimes in their story, I am the villain because I'm the person that controls that, but never once have they backed away from being their best person or, you know, doing the right thing. So the nod was more to let them know that even though I can't see their face other than on this screen, what they're saying, I 100% agree with. They're not telling you anything that is true.
Yeah, and I was going to say what's nice, you know, with Adam and I, our offices are right here. The amount of times that we have to go into the arena throughout the day to do things is countless. And we know it's not an accident, the athletes that progress significantly quicker than others might. We see them in the gym, you know, hours at a time by themselves or with individually with a coach. So it's not hard for us to see, you know, why things are happening the way they are. I mean, watch you guys get better on the court, because we see you guys do it Tuesday morning at 9:00 by yourself, or, you know, Tuesday afternoon at 2:00 by yourself, or whatever, you know, whenever you're working out on your own. So no, seeing the progression like that for us is even really cool, and it's pretty evident for us. But we can head that to Zoe. Next question we have is for you. We know you're really involved with academics, extracurriculars, and SAC, and then obviously the basketball team as well. Do you want to give us kind of a rundown on how you keep everything balanced and how you're able to get everything accomplished?
Yeah. Well, before I wasn't really anything in SAC, but this year I took on the president spot with Tori and Tyler. And it's just kind of like, I don't know, in high school it's the same way. I feel like I was in a lot of clubs. I was in orchestra, so that was something else to be a part of. But I think it's just with my teammates, they're really supportive of everything that I do. And like my roommates are awesome and help me out with things for SAC. Like I get a lot of feedback from them and my teammates. So I don't know, it's pretty fun like having it all together. And I think it's pretty easy to keep it all together too.
Little known fact, Zoe plays the cello.
I was just going to ask that. That's awesome.
And she's left-handed.
Yeah.
Do you still play?
Yes.
But I do everything. I write with my left hand, right.
But the rest of her life is right-handed.
Yes.
Never would have known. Yeah, that's interesting because, like, a lot of people, in general, like college, if you just did college, that's hard. If you just did college athletics, that's hard in and of itself as well. So, when you put all those things together, I mean, maybe, that's your life and you're living it. So it's like, admit to the outside, I just, it's an impressive thing. So, be proud of that. Definitely don't water it down because it's awesome that you guys all do what you do. Thank you for that. And this last question is going to go to Paula. Paula, so you've had, you played at Northern, then you were an assistant, and then you were gone for a little bit. And then now back going into your third year as the head coach, could you speak about, kind of like what are some of your favorite, and if you don't think of anything off the top of your head, what are your favorite memories of kind of the tradition of Northern? And then if not, could you kind of speak about like what Northern basketball means to you as probably, one of the people who's been throughout its history most involved in at all levels?
Sure. Memories that stick out the most to me. When I played, I have a lot of memories, but I don't remember necessarily specific games. Those all kind of run together. But obviously, winning the national championship twice and doing it with basically the same core group of girls, and then adding a group of freshmen in my senior year, and being the only senior. I started out with 8 in my class, and I was the only one that made it through, all the way to the end. Renee Luchins now started with me, but redshirted, so she did make it too. But I was the only senior that graduated in what would have been our 4-year time frame. And I, what I remember the most was probably just that feeling of climbing up a ladder and cutting down those nets, and your parents being there and your teammates and being so excited. And we were surrounded by really, really good people. It certainly wasn't any one thing, but maybe my greatest memory from the national championships is Coach Fred being on TV and actually getting choked up. And you don't think about a guy like that being a really emotional person, but I've had an opportunity to see that, more than once. And so that was really, really cool. I watched my mom hurdle the yellow tape that they're supposed to take off the floor to jump over those and to meet me at half court. And my mom doesn't break rules, so that was pretty impressive. Watching my teammates do just amazing things. Julia Roselle is far and above in my lifetime the best female basketball player that I ever had an opportunity to play with, and certainly one of the best that's ever played here. And just watching, I got to play high school with her too, so that was kind of a neat experience. On the coaching side, I got to do so many things with Coach Fredrickson as far as those wins. I played in a significant, I think I played in 300. I was an assistant in 400. I was an assistant in 600, and I was an assistant in 800. And so I got to experience a lot of different things there. But far and away, the greatest experience for me was, coming back and being able to fulfill a lifelong dream of mine to become the head coach. And certainly, when I left here, I told Coach Fred I had 2 goals. I either wanted to come back here and be the head coach, or I wanted to coach Division I basketball. And whichever one came first is, kind of what I was leaning towards. And I ended up with a chance to come back here. And I don't think that anybody really understands until you live it. When you started with the program and you progress all the way through all the levels to be the head coach, the kind of pressure that you feel to be something special. And, for me, this is coming home. It's far more than a basketball program. When I came back here, every time that I come here or come into the gym or would come into the arena or those kinds of things, it was always coming home for me. And that's what the program means to me. So when my kids are able to graduate and leave here, I hope that in their time, they have an opportunity when they come back, that's what it feels like. It's a safe place. It's home. There are always going to be trying times. There's challenges. We certainly haven't won as many games as I'd like to win. I think the kids would say that too, but our goal was to continually get better and to create a culture and a tradition of, passion and excellence and direct communication and, do that with, a factor that belongs to them, a really student-driven type of thing, and watching these guys interact and seeing them be together. That's probably more for me as a memory than anything, I think. But right now, probably my greatest memory with this group was winning the playoff game at CSP this year when nobody really thought that, a road team was going to win. And, coming into the locker room and Kendall not knowing, but I was standing around the corner and she's like, should we get water? Let's get water. She was cheering on the troops to get the water. I was ready for it. That's why I peeked my head around. I thought maybe that I was going to get doused. So I peeked around the corner first before I came in and went crazy. But I think the greatest thing for me is just watching these people grow and getting to be part of their life. When it's all done, I take great pride in that piece. And I've been coaching basketball now for 25 years. This is my 25th year as a basketball coach in some way, shape, or form. And I've only missed 2 of my players' weddings in all that time. And so for me, that's a big thing. I've babysat kids in practice. I carried them on a little thing in the front of me so that their mom could be at practice. And, just they make me better. And so that's probably my greatest every day. That's probably the thing that makes me get up. And I don't go to work because I love what I do. And that's not being cliche or trying to be soft or anything. It's just a fact.
That's awesome to hear. It's kind of a unique perspective because not a lot of the times do the coaches, know on kind of an intimate level what the players are going through and kind of the tradition that they're experiencing as they go through their, their playing days. Not exactly, but to a certain degree, what kind of they're experiencing as Northern athletes. So that's kind of it's fun to see. Let's maybe ask you guys a quick question on this because that is kind of a fun memory. We were watching on a projector as it happened, but what are your guys's? We'll start with Kendall here. Quick memories of that playoff win last year.
I just remember probably the thing that stands out to me most was the resiliency of all the girls, especially though our good pal Sarah Tweet, she, somewhat struggled a little bit with free throws in her past. And it was like the 2 biggest free throws of her entire life. And she just went up there and sinked them both. Like it was literally nothing. I literally remember seeing them. I'm like this, that's it. That's it. Those free throws went in. So yeah, it's probably meant to happen that we're supposed to win this thing. But no, I just remember from the tip, never, no one in their mind ever wanted to just give in at that moment, because I don't know. We didn't come to CSP. We didn't drive there all the way for nothing. And I don't know. It was a feeling that I felt like we all felt. It didn't have to be said. It was just felt as a whole, if that kind of makes sense.
100%.
That's awesome. Before we go to Kailee and Zoe, I want to share what Austin and I kind of went through. So we were in town. There was a game in town happening that we were working at. And kind of as we get closer and closer to the end of the game, I see more and more people are kind of funneling into the upstairs team room because your guys' game was playing on there. And it's you kind of can feel something. You kind of have a feeling. You're like, what's going on? What's going on? So we go in there and it's getting close to the end of the game. And it's more and more people are coming into this room. And pretty soon, half the people in the suites are in the team room watching your guys' game. And then your guys' game went later than the men's game that night. And then just the sheer number of people that stuck around just to watch the overtime and the ending of your guys' game was incredible. It's like a packed team room, watching a game that's how many miles away. So that was, really fun to see. Even though, they're not even in the same state, the level of support was really cool. Or not in the same area. It was really cool to see. So now
everyone was yelling. Everyone was yelling because whoever was working the clock for the broadcast, it was never right. So the game was supposed to be over, and then they were still playing, and we were yelling that the game should be over. Oh, it was a disaster. But It turned out really fun.
It was
awesome.
suspenseful. It was suspenseful because we had no idea how much time was left. That made it like harder. It was like I was freaking out. But we'll start with Kailee here. What was your take on that? What was kind of the feeling of the team during that run there?
Yeah, that was so much fun. Like the bench energy that we had this last year is just insane. So me being at the end of the bench, like I get to hear what the crowd's saying and hearing the crowd get into it, and then seeing my teammates come running off the court. I remember after that game, I gave Jessie the biggest hug, and she was just going crazy. Sarah was going crazy. And there's like some taunting going on. I remember I turned to that student section behind us. I was like, y'all thought we was going to lose. And I just celebrated with my team, and it was just the best feeling ever. I love that game.
That's awesome. And you probably had a bigger northern section, maybe not student section, but that our kind of general fans travel better than a lot of schools. So, you had, a couple hundred more people than the other team at your back, ready to back you up and kind of, throw it down there. But that's awesome. Zoe, memories from that day?
I think it was just awesome. It just kind of showed all the work that we all put in. Like every single person on our team contributes no matter how many minutes they play. And it just showed like how much like we celebrate each other. Like I remember that every game, like anytime someone got a rebound, like made a free throw, a 3-pointer, like we were all jumping for like as much as we could. So it was just a really fun game overall. The energy in the game was probably like my favorite part.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it kind of goes back to, what Kailee said earlier. It's like, hey, whatever your way to contribute is, do it to the best of your ability. And then you got nothing to worry about because you can lay your head on the pillow at the end of the night knowing that you did everything you could. And, it's like a certain level of calmness and peace that kind of giving it your all brings. So it's really cool to hear the different takes on that. With that, I don't know how we can top that ending. So, this is officially the longest episode of the Wolves Coffee Hour, but I think we did that because it had some of the best content. So just want to say thanks for kind of taking some time out of your day here to chat with us and to give the Wolves fans and people who are watching kind of a little bit of insight into your life and maybe a different side of you than they get to see on the court or otherwise. So really good stuff. We'll kind of go to each of you here. Any parting words of wisdom for Wolves fans who are either watching this live or a lot of people watch it after the fact too? Anything you want to say to them? We'll end it with Paula. So Kendall, any parting words of wisdom from Minnesota there?
Parting words of wisdom from Minnesota. That's great. No, I guess I just want to say thanks to all the fans that are watching, and if they're not watching, that's okay. But just the continual support. Student athletes say it all the time, how amazing it is. And sometimes I feel like people can think that, that's just what they're used to saying, you don't really see it. But that's so false. Like you see it all the time. I was in Aberdeen just this past weekend and I had to, I was picking up food from Pounders and someone asked me, are you on the women's basketball team? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, it's so fun to watch you guys this past year. And I was like, what the heck? Like the support anywhere and everywhere is so crazy and it's insane. And 100%, I believe it's like no other place. So, I mean, keep it up and thank you. It's crazy. So that's all I have to say. It's just thanks to everyone who just supports us because it's unreal.
You're absolutely right. Number one in Division II attendance for now this last year's year number 13. So you've got the experience and the facts to back up that statement. So you couldn't be more right. We'll go to Zoe here. Parting words of wisdom from right here in Aberdeen, I guess.
Yeah, just thank you to all of our fans. Like you guys do so much for us and we appreciate it every day. Like Kendall said, we have people come up to us every day just saying they enjoy watching us and it means the world to every single one of us. So thank you.
That's awesome. Kailee?
Yeah, just to back up what those two said, the support that we get on and off the court is amazing, especially being so far from home. I'm about 12 hours away. I know lots of my team's far away. There's people that are if you ever need to come over, if you're missing your family, you can come join ours for the night. It's incredible just the amount of support that we get from people. So thank you all so much for being so welcoming and supporting us no matter what we do.
Yeah, it's unparalleled, and we all kind of say that so much to the point where it's like to the point of saturation, but we wouldn't say it if we didn't mean it. So thank you guys for sharing that. And well, I'm not a wise person, so I'm not going to share any wisdom here. But we'll end it with your guys' boss here. Paula, any parting words for the Wolves fans? Anything you want to tell them before we sign off here?
Oh, I think our kids said it the best. It is truly there's nothing like being a Wolf, and it's hard to explain unless you've actually experienced it and been on the floor or been here to see it. It's a lot like what Kendall said. It's almost unbelievable when people talk about it because they think you're programmed to say it, and until you live it, it's so different. I get so jacked when recruits come because I can talk about what it feels like to play in front of people and then to coach in front, and it literally is something I'll never forget. When Sundance Wicks was back here and had first started coaching, he was talking to one of our recruits, and as he explained what it felt like to play in Walks Arena, you could see the goosebumps and the hair start to stand up, on his arms, and that's a real feeling. So when you go out and you tell people where you play and you're visiting with people about being in Aberdeen and being really that only show type of feeling, there's just no place like it. People say who has it better than we do, and quite honestly, there isn't anybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you see when other teams walk into the gym, their eyes go up with how tall the ceilings are, and they see the video board and kind of the history of all the the coaches who have been here, and it's hard to kind of verbalize like the history and the passion that you kind of feel when you're in there, and working in their building. I don't feel it to the degree that you guys do, but it's fun to see you guys do what you do best. Austin, any parting words? Any golf swing tips for the road here?
No, I could reiterate, best fans in the country. You're the best. Ladies, you guys were awesome today. Thank you. It was a blast talking to you guys. It was great.
Thanks.
Okay, so, yep, go ahead. You're good. So next week, we'll get the details dialed in. Next week, we're going to talk to Lynn Nackey and a couple kids on the track team, but we'll get that info out in the coming days here as far as what day and what time. And with that, that's a wrap on episode 8 of the Wolves Coffee Hour. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, go Wolves.
Go Wolves.
Go Wolves.